Good evening and welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. It's full time. Celtic against Dundee, 6 to the good. Sean, I think that's the first time I've ever been happy that both our predictions have been completely wrong. I think you said 4, I said 5, and the club said hold my beer and gave us an extra one there. And I think we spoke in the first half about the performance being tidy, doing a lot of things right. I think in the second half there was a lot of flair, there was a lot of panache. We played that with swagger, really, is a way to describe it. Probably a good few contenders for goal of the season in one match, I would suggest. To be honest, I can't. Other than us not getting our predictions right, I can't think of any negatives tonight. I thought that was an outstanding team performance from start to finish. What were your thoughts?
Oh, we were really poor. Just disappointing. Didn't enjoy that. No, I'm joking. No, we were sensational. It was a great game. It was actually quite different in the two halves. I thought Dundee were right in it in the first half. Like they were really giving a fair crack.
Really disciplined. Yep.
Before Jota scores that goal, just before half time, like it was 1-0 was a harsh, if not fair, result. 2-0 was definitely harsh in Dundee at half time. Not to say we were poor, we were good. We were combative. Our press was sensational. We played some good football, but we couldn't create too many clear-cut chances in the first half. And it's a penalty that puts us 1-0 up, and then it's the goal that puts us 2-0 up is the keeper saved it twice, and then Jota has to pull off a sensational save into the roof of the net to make it 2-0. And that kind of puts a gloss on the score at half-time. But then we come out second half. They pick up 2 yellow cards, and then they're chasing shadows after that point. The Jota cross for the Maeda header was once that was in, it was like the pressure was off us. We started to play just some great football at that point. And you can see it in the fourth goal, where Jota tracks back to our left back spot and down at the corner flag, and Hatate, Jota, Taylor between them played triangles to get out under pressure at the corner, switch the play from that, and because everyone's down in that corner, that creates space in behind for Maeda, and Engels plays a great ball in. And I don't know, Maeda channeling Larson or Kyogo with that chip over the goalkeeper. I think that's his 18th goal for the season. That's some return for any player, never mind a winger or someone that is not even viewed, apart from by the Japan manager, as a striker. Engels, who was my man in the match, the stadium gave the man in the match to Maeda.
I believe so. Yeah.
He had a really, really, really strong second half. So if you were picking it from just second half, you'd give it to him. But he didn't really do much in the first half. He was kind of marked out the game in the first half.
No, we both said it, didn't we? We both felt as though he wasn't able to impose himself in a game, and this is why I'm convinced Brendan Rodgers listens to this podcast, because clearly he had a word with him at half time. But it was an excellent performance in the second half. But I agree with you. I thought Engels had a lot of influence on the game tonight. Is that his first or second goal from open play?
I think it's his second. He had a tap in.
Second goal from open play.
I can't remember who it was against, but he had a tap in a game as well.
That's right. But I thought his overall play tonight was excellent, really mature performance. But you could have picked a few contenders for man of the match. But I think you're right. I mean, I think Maeda, based on second half performance, but overall I would have said probably Engels was man of the match as well.
Yeah, and look, the goal does take a deflection, but it's still a good finish. It's still a good shot, and not just the 2 goals he scored. His all-round play was just brilliant. Yeah. He really controlled the game. I think he played the full 93 minutes though, so maybe rest him before the Bayern Munich game, because he's in fine form. He actually deserved man of the match. But then if you're Dundee and you're making subs, I think the boy Ingram had to go off just because he was on toast by that point from Maeda running in behind him. And the body comes on at left back, doesn't really fare much better. Kuhn cuts in and just curls one into the far corner. I mean, technically, Alistair Johnson and Greg Taylor get assists for those last 2 goals, but not all assists are created equal, right? Just finishes from Engels and Kuhn. And if you're a Dundee player, you got to be, oh man, they're bringing this guy off the bench, and he's like someone who's been mentioned as a German international, and he's just letting us know, well, yeah, Jota's back, but I'm still here with that finish. So,
well, I think I heard them mentioned on commentary, but I had a look. I think they've scored 35 goals between them, Maeda and Kun, this season, which for two
That's
wide
right.
players
Mm-hmm.
is outstanding. And now you've added Jota to that equation. You've got Jamesy Forrest coming back to further back that up. Young's going to have a hard time getting into this team, I would suggest. But he's still there, so he'll have his part to play as well. So it's not. I don't want to denigrate any players after that performance, but. What was your impression of Jota's contribution? He played, I think, it was just over the 60 minutes
Mm-hmm.
today, or just shy of the 60 minutes. But he's added a certain dynamic. There was something evident in our play tonight, particularly in that second half. I thought the passing was a lot quicker. It was more. There was a lot more forward passes taking place, and the pace of the passing I thought was a lot better. But there was a threat from both sides in that second half, and I think you're almost seeing evidence of what we lost when Jota left. And I mean, when you consider that we chose Palma and Yang to fill that void, really, there's no comparison, is there? I mean, we have brought back proven quality on that side.
Yeah, look, that run of really dense fixtures we had in December and January, we had Yang starting like 5 or 6 games, something like
Yeah,
that. And I think across those 5 or 6 games, he wins 2 penalties and scores a header, something like that, and that's his total contribution. And you can see immediately there's a rise in quality from Jota. It's also evident that he's not fit. Like there's points where he looks
yeah.
gassed as well, like, but
Oh
he
yeah,
doesn't give up. Like he just takes a little break on the pitch and then comes back in. But his decision making is great. His quality is great. Those 2 back heels that he plays to Hatate is just great awareness, great footwork. There's even one in the second half where I can't remember who it is, plays the raking ball across the pitch, and everyone in the Dundee defence is geared for Jota to try and take a touch, and it just volleys a pass over the top. I can't remember who was on the overlap, Johnny Kenny maybe, but yeah, it was a good performance, and he can show that he's shown that he's offered more in just 2 games. Like 1 start, 1 sub
yeah.
appearance than Yang did across multiple seasons, to be honest. Which is, I don't like bag Yang. That's not what this is about. But it's about the rise in quality that comes from having Jota there, and that assist for the 3rd goal is just sublime. So I'm happy. It is an upgrade, and yeah, you mentioned Forrest coming back. It's not too bad a choice to have those 4 as wingers, I don't think, with Yang. And again, I don't mind Yang coming in as a 5th choice, even though I'd rather, you'd rather have a Ben Doak, sure, but like, it's not too bad a position to be in, is it?
It's not. It's not, and I think this is the thing we've been speaking about. It's about adding quality on top of quality. The quality shouldn't just be restricted to the first 11. We need a good 5 or 6 quality players that come in. And I think we're slowly getting to that. But I thought Jota tonight. I thought the point you mentioned, which I thought was quite important. He did his fair share of defensive duty tonight as well. That moment in the second half where he tracks back and he's in possession 2 or 3 times, doesn't panic, doesn't waste it, doesn't just scythe one away, but actually, maintains possession, passes it out, and allows the build up for the next goal, which was fantastic. We've got to talk about the goals then. I mean, Maeda, I think you described it as channeling Larson or Kyogo. I mean, we've seen chips before, we've seen little dinks before, but the accuracy that was on that shot, I mean, beautiful assist from Engels, I think, first of all. It was absolutely phenomenal. But to chip it that accurate from that range, that's some skill for someone whose final product has been under a bit of criticism over the past couple of seasons. He's changing his game a little bit. He is becoming more clinical this season more than ever.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, obviously it's a great ball from Engels, but if it goes right through to Maeda, he has to take a touch, and then he's basically having to go low. But the fact that the Engels pass actually gets the defender gets a toe on it, it kind of takes the pace off it, and also kicks it up a little bit. So the defenders accidentally just set it up for that chip, just set it up for a first time shot from Maeda, and he does it really well. He just, like, I don't know, at some point, like, you get into a flow state where you're not thinking about what you're doing, you're just playing football, and it looks like when you score a goal like that's exactly what's going on, right? You're not overthinking it, you're just playing it as it comes. Your instincts are on, you're on form, you're feeling fit, you're feeling fine, and that just showed that. I mean, he's another header. He scored a header against Motherwell, he scored a header again tonight.
2 in a row, yeah.
He scored more headers than Ida. So, like, I don't know, man. He's just on it. It's such a shame that he's going to be suspended for the Bayern Munich first leg. That's crucial.
I was going to touch on that. I mean, we were talking about the disappointment in not bringing in a striking replacement for Kyogo, but actually, on the face of it, Maeda's suspension is a bigger loss, isn't it? That's the bigger miss in that game, because he brings so much. I mean, he played on the right tonight. He played on the left. Did most of his played on the right. Played on the left. Did most of his damage on the left. But it's the goals that he's bringing to the game. And he's bringing so much more this season, I think, than he's done in previous seasons. We've always had the consistency around certain attributes. You know, the pace, the work rate, the stamina. But he's brought the goals to his game this season, and that's going to be a huge miss, because I think he could hurt any team in Europe, whether it be a Bayern Munich or a Young Boys. I don't think it matters. I think he can damage teams in Europe with the way he plays at the moment. I suppose the positive counterpoint is Jota seems to be hitting the ground running at the moment. Fitness, I agree, will be a factor, but at the moment, he's not missed a beat since coming back. So you want him to continue that as well, continue getting minutes, get that sharpness back up, build up that relationship with his teammates, and hopefully he can compensate for some of the loss of Maeda in that Bayern game. But I think, European campaign aside, domestically, I'm not sure many teams are going to be able to live with us with the way that Maeda, Jota now, and Kun, indeed, who again showed with a phenomenal finish tonight as well. With what they're bringing to the table, that's a fantastic forward lineup. Not just in Europe, but domestically, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, Jota's it's not his quality that surprised me, but how quickly he's settled it surprised me, because in his previous spell, before he left, anytime he was injured, it would usually take him 2, 3, 4 games to get back up to match speed, to match sharpness. But he just came straight in, like scores off the bench at the weekend, starts tonight, gets an assist, and it's crucial in a lot of play and aspects of the game. So that's been the surprise for me, because we were all warned before he kicked the ball, not match fit. We all saw the pictures, like he looks like he's not fully built up physically, which again, with the Scottish game in mind, that's a concern. And he's just not really showing it. He's just shown that his technical ability is good enough that it doesn't really matter that much. So when he does get fully built, fully match fit, fully sharp, man, it could be a frightening prospect. And honestly, Maeda and Kun, one of them should be actually looking over their shoulder. Like it's honestly, like genuinely. And you a month ago you'd have been like, man, not you would have been like, we were a month ago like, we only have these 2 wingers. What we're going to do if something happens to one of them? And now we've got that little cushion. The only issue in terms of the squad is like the team that finished the match tonight was almost as strong as the one that started it, which is a big feature that Brendan Rodgers likes to have in his teams and his squads. But the obviously glaring not quite for that was Johnny Kenny up front, and no harm to him, right? He put in a shift, but like there's a bit of drop in quality there when you look at the finishing 11 versus the starting 11. So that's the failure of the transfer window. But that said, like there was no failures on the pitch tonight. The players were sensational all through. Even like the current whipping boy, which is Trusty, I thought he even had a good game.
He did. He was very assured in the second half. Yeah, very assured.
And he was targeted in the same way that he was because of what happened at Dens Park. So I thought, there was one point Carter Vickers cheaply loses possession and Trusty covers for him. So like I thought he was good. I think Schmeichel only has 1 save to make the whole game, but yeah,
I can remember, yeah.
But yeah, I thought we were good all over the pitch. It was a good game, good night, and hopefully we don't get too much physical challenge at the weekend against Wraith Rovers, and hopefully we can just run this form into the Bayern Munich game. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will talk about that in a few moments. I just want to get a feeling from some of the comments and see how the guys enjoyed the game. So we'll start with Jungle Lion. Looks as though you enjoyed it. Effectively 14 points ahead. I think that's reference to the goal difference. Yeah. Absolutely, I would agree with that. AG comes in and says, "Who had 6-0?" The 1 out ain't bad, right? Yeah, but that was an excellent result, I have to say. Give number 38 player of the season right now. That's obviously Dyson, more than worthy of it. It became a true sale. I think he's certainly got to be in the, he's got to be amongst the contenders for player of the season, if not the outstanding contender. Paul says outstanding performance. Yep, I would agree with that. Quarterback Pump comes in, Dyson. Wow, the complete athlete. Engels superb, whole team fabulous. Yeah, I'd agree. I think Engels had a great game tonight from start to finish, pretty much. Paul, fantastic coming in again, fantastic. 13 points ahead plus goal difference, 13 games to go. Yeah, it's definitely worth a clap. Patrick Howe, second half was like a game of FIFA. Felt a bit like that. Definitely a bit of swagger. It's like your opponent has downed the tools, dropped the controller, and walked away. I did feel like that at times. But to be fair, credit where it's due. I think both me and Sean said that Dundee very disciplined in the first half. I think that maybe that second goal just before half time maybe killed them a little bit. But that's ultimately what we've got to do. We've got to break down teams and then show what we can do. I think the secret is, Sean, that me and you should do all the match day coverage, and Paul John should go to the games, and Kev should stay away. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
It's a good one to have been at.
Absolutely, he does pick them.
I will say though as well, like there's been other games recently where, like the 2-1 game against Kilmarnock, I think the main difference between tonight and the Kilmarnock game was we were much more clinical tonight. Like,
yes,
honestly, don't think we were that much better tonight than we were in that Kilmarnock game, and I don't think Dundee were that much poorer than Kilmarnock were in that game. I think taking your chances makes a difference. I think the first two chances we get in the second half we score, and that does it for Dundee, right? I think up to 4-0, I don't know that we missed that many chances. I think, maybe the odds, like we were talking at halftime about trying to walk it in kind of thing, like being too intricate and, cutbacks, just not quite finding players. But when the chances did present themselves, we took them, and that really relaxes everyone and makes it look even stronger than it might be otherwise.
And it does, and I think we've said in the past that we felt there was a big result coming, given the way we were playing, but we just weren't getting the break of the ball. The chances just weren't falling the way we wanted them to. We're missing some, fairly gilt-edged chances, and I think you see when all the parts come together, as I think they did tonight, we can, no matter how resilient a defence is, particularly in the domestic league, we can build up these big score lines, and I think that's really important. And it's hopefully good momentum to take in not only the weekend but coming into European games as well. We'll bring in Patrick James Simpson. Club need to give Dyson an improved contract offer in the summer. The offers will be big for the player. It is the downside, if there is a downside to these kind of performances, it might take, it might make scouts sit up and take notice, and potentially suitors come calling. But at the moment we're just happy to have him and enjoy what he's bringing to the table. Forever Never Celtic comes in. What a goal! That fourth was awesome. I wouldn't argue with that. And Thomas Spons echoes that. Top quality goals tonight. Mark McGonigal, interesting, comes in, put Maeda up top. Simple as that. I think there's an argument for that. I think he'd certainly do a job there, but at the moment I wouldn't put him there at the expense of Ida. I think Ida Sean is, what's that, 4 goals, 3 games. He's taken his opportunity, which is all you want of a player to do, and I think he's doing really, really well. I thought he had another great performance tonight. Actually, if there was any criticism, I think he probably should have added to his 1 goal, but good game management by Brendan taking him off. I think he's a player we need to protect.
To be fair, I don't know that he has many other chances in the game. But I can't think of any that I would say he should have scored that, which wasn't the case necessarily a few weeks ago. Like we talked about who was that away to? I can't remember the one where Kyogo puts the ball across, and we all accuse him of bottling out of not.
That's right. Yeah, when a keeper came out and I can't remember the game, but yeah, it was one where I think he just saw the keeper looming large in his eyesight and maybe just lost concentration. But at that time, though, I think the difference is he looked like a player off confidence. Yeah, he looked like a player off confidence. Now I think the difference, you're seeing a player who looks like he believes in his own ability. And he's putting himself in positions where he is going to get goals. I mean, that the goal he scored today, the sharpness to get up off the deck and actually get that rebound in. And remember, he has the first shot. Great follow up by Jota, which is good to see players running in and attacking those balls. But he's got to be sharp and not give up the chance and get up, and he did that tonight. So I think there's a big difference in the confidence level in Ida at the moment. And yeah, we didn't want to say goodbye to Kyogo, but ultimately, sounds like the player and manager, it was a part of the ways. We're grateful to have had Kyogo here, but the pressure looks to be off Ida a little bit at the moment. He looks like, okay, my turn, and he's delivering.
And the funny thing is, there should be more pressure on him, right? Without Kyogo there, like it's all on him, so he should be under more pressure. But no, he's taken it and he's turned it into a positive, and he's using it to. He's been in great form the last 3 games. Like that was a really good finish tonight. The first goal against Aston Villa was a really good finish.
Yes.
And look, at some point he was the penalty taker. Now he's not. So he's like that may have been a contributing factor as well. So he's been a great form lately since Kyogo left. He's really picked it up. The concern is not Ida at the moment. The concern is what's behind him, what happens if he gets injured. And we talked about it at half time, and we probably talked about full time. And we'll probably, if he does get injured, then it'll be a really big talking point. So we hope that's not the case, or at least, because like even up to the end of the season, we've got a cup. Hopefully, have a cup final in May. So we don't want at any point to have to deal without Adam Ida. He's now become a crucial player. One player we've not mentioned by name yet, who I thought was we talked about half time, but we've not mentioned in the post match, was Callum McGregor. Had a brilliant game as well tonight, defending, driving forward, everything, and he ended up getting rested for the last half hour. So that was interesting to see as well. Bernardo coming on for him, playing the number 6, who I thought did well. But I thought Calmac, before he went off, had a great game tonight as well.
I think he played to his strengths tonight. I thought he was excellent. I thought real captain's performance. And look, his 501st game was that tonight. Certainly over 500 games for the club. And look, as much as I don't think any player is exempt from criticism, and I believe Callum would probably agree with that, given his character. You look at 500 games for the club, and you'd say, the largest possible percentage of those have been positive, excellent performances. He, for me, will get the recognition he deserves as a legendary Celtic captain. I think time will look back on Callum McGregor really, really fondly. But it was nice to see him getting a rest tonight, because I do think there's such a reliance on him, and I think there's probably a lot of characteristics that aren't always evident to the naked eye when he's playing, but he's so important to this team in multiple different capacities that I think it's important we protect him. We spoke about protecting Ida. I think Calmac falls into that as well. But I would agree. Great performance. Thought Bernardo came in quite well. I do want to talk about a couple of the lesser seen players. The first one being Johnny Kenny. You mentioned, obviously Ida taking off, protecting him. There is an opportunity here for Kenny. I mean, nobody's expecting him necessarily to come in and play his absolute best football. He's had very few minutes. He's maybe a little bit similar to Schlupp, who also came on tonight and we'll speak about. But he's got to find his feet in this team, learn how to play alongside these players, and try and adapt to Brendan's style of play. But there is an opportunity, and he's got to take it, because between now and the end of the season, it's Ida, and then you'd have to say next up, unless it moves Maeda in there, is going to be Johnny Kenny.
And look, I hope to see a bit more of him, and I hope because he looks like he's also trying too hard, which is a thing. He's really putting, like he was putting a shift in, which is good, but at some point, like when you look at Maeda, always puts a shift in, but you also see when the chances break for him there, he's not trying too hard, like he's taking it in his strides, and there's something to that, that being relaxed and confident and knowing you belong. And obviously Johnny Kenny, that's just his second game for us, so it's definitely not something that he has yet. But I do wonder if he might get a start at the weekend against Rafe Rovers. I wonder.
It's a high possibility. Yeah. And I think the one thing, I mean, okay, he's going to get game time between now and end of the season, whether it's in primarily cup games or getting 20, 30 minutes at the end of games where we're in control. But when you see the performance of players like Maeda, Kuhn, Jota, hopefully the returning James Forrest, hopefully who also gets his goal to maintain his record. But there's going to be a lot of service coming in for the front men, and you'd hope that Johnny Kenny, that's a good opportunity for him to maybe do what he does best and what he's known for, and what young James French speaks about a lot, that he is a finisher. He is a guy who can find the back of the net. So maybe you're right, maybe it is just the case at the moment, putting in, trying too hard, maybe trying to, do too much, and just get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals. Let the creative players, the established players, do the work, be in the right position and take the chances when they come. But be good to see him get some game time. Get the confidence level up and give us hopefully confidence that we've got a decent backup for Ida between now and the end of the season. I want to talk about another player that came on, made his debut tonight. I thought he looked tidy in places. I think you can definitely see he needs to get up to speed. But Jeffrey Schlupp made his debut. What did you make of him? Kind of a little bit of an up and down debut, but overall decent, I felt.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to find his feet, in the sense that he wasn't as aware of where his teammates would be compared to Greg Taylor, and which is the position he took up. He took up left back. So when Greg Taylor gets the ball, he knows the angles, he knows where players are going to be, and Schlupp looked a bit like he was kind of looking around and trying to find players. He didn't really know instinctively where they'd be, which is always a thing, right? With new players coming into a team, or like Johnny Kenny, for example. But I thought he looked powerful. He looked tidy. He puts that shot over the bar from 20 yards right at the end, and it'd be nice if that had been on target and made the keeper work. But I thought he did well, and it looks. I know, sounds like everyone said it, right? He looks strong. He looks like he's a physical player, like he's built in that way. But he also looks tidy, and I think he will contribute once he gets a chance to get to know the team, get to settle in, get match sharp, all those things. I think a positive contribution.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I did notice about his performance today, he looked quite comfortable in the air. I noticed he won at least a couple of headers and looked, as you say, used that strength. Maybe just needs time to get up to the pace of our game, which I think is the case for a lot of players when they first come to Scotland, is to get up to speed. You don't get quite as long on the ball up here in this league. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what he can do. And actually, just to go back to an earlier point you made, I thought when Schlupp did come on, I thought we actually saw the best of us, and Trusty actually stepped in. You could see he was doing a lot of covering for Schlupp, making sure he was there, had the support. He was also feeding him the ball, trying to get him comfortable. So I thought that was quite a mature element to Trusty's play in the second half. So yeah, credit where it's due. Credit's where it's due. Just before we wrap up, Sean, obviously we've got the game against Wraith Rovers before we then move into European football. It's coming thick and fast. Would you make wholesale changes for the Wraith game? I know we don't take any much for granted, but the Bayern's surely the bigger game of the two at the moment. If we want to give ourselves any chance, we need to rest and wrap a couple of these players in cotton wool, right?
Well, the temptation is definitely there, but I'd say we've learned our lesson from the Falkirk game, where we got a scare. We're 2-1 down at half time when we made wholesale changes in that game. So I don't see it being wholesale. I'd say there'll be quite a few. I'd say, Engels, and it might be McCowan and Bernardo starting, which is, they're not terrible players, so that's fine. And I think probably Maeda will start, because he's not going to be playing midweek. I don't know. I guess the real question is, does Johnny Kenny come in, or do we go with Ida again and just focus on his recovery between games? And I'd say you might see up to 6 changes, but I think any more than that's really risking it. So I don't see too many, and hopefully it'll be a case of get a couple of goals up and make changes at the hour. But yeah, I'd say a few starting players would be the ones we're not expecting to start against Bayern Munich. It does help that we're not travelling. This is another Celtic Park at the weekend, Celtic Park next midweek, so that does help as well.
Yep, absolutely. Let's get some final thoughts in from the comments here. Let's see, where are we? We had that one. Brendan McCarthy comes in, outstanding performance, Celtic. Engels brilliant tonight. Yep, I would agree with that. Lucy, can't love Maeda anymore. Let's see if unfortunately, if we don't have him. I think it's just the first leg in Bayern he's out, isn't it, Sean? But we've got him back to the second leg.
That's right.
We'll hopefully get the chance. We'll see the chance for Maeda to show what he can do against European opposition at least one more time this season. Brown Warrior comes in. That's 2 Larson headers in 2 games. Still in him, yeah, absolutely. Talking about Maeda. Jonathan Brown comes in. Maida's very happy. Jota will only get better. Schlipp looks like solid, good quality signing. Yet loving the possibility. Forever and ever Celtic. You keep the man in charge happy at all costs. He knows best. Yeah, I think it is important, given the success this season, that we do back Brendan. I'm talking about the club here. That they do back Brendan as much as possible. Okay, frustrating transfer window. Let's remedy that in the summer if we can. Broomore, you come back in. I'm going to say this about Kuhn. He reminds me of Salah when he was at Basel. High compliment. Just before he moved to Chelsea. Same movement and clinical finishing coming inside off the right wing. High praise indeed, and it'd be great if he could reach those lofty heights. I'd love it to be with us, but as we know, the more successful players are with us, the more attractive they are to other potential suitors. So, but hopefully he'll stay with us for a while. Slabbering Cabbage comes in. I know we might be a tad short in the depth department, but what a team, man. What a performance. Yeah, I agree with that. And Quarterback Punk, welcome to the channel, mate. Worth admission alone, that goal. Martin Belfast comes in. Either got a lot of stick, unwarranted. If anyone has played football, they know how hard it is to come into a game and influence in 30 minutes and 20 minutes here, and they're having trained all week. I think that's a fair point. And last point to Gaddafi's Semtex. I should really have read that username before I brought that up. But Maida player of the season. I think the comment is spot on. Sean, I think good performance. Appreciate not our toughest opposition and not our toughest match, but great momentum taken into the weekend and into Bayern Munich. Thanks very much, mate, for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. It's always good. I don't think we'll invite Paul, John, and Kevin back on. Now they clearly bring us down. No, the boss man will be back. He will be back tomorrow, and thankfully you lot will all get a break from me. So, Sean, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you everyone that commented. Nearly 1,800 strong. At this time of night, really appreciated. Sorry I couldn't bring up every single comment, but look, we will be back tomorrow, and we will also see you for the match coverage at the weekend as well. Hope everyone stays safe. Take care. Hail.
Hail.